You're in the Groove Yard, and we're on location at the Birchmere in Alexandria, Virginia, with bassist extraordinaire Mr. Mark Andes. Mark, welcome back to Alexandria.
Thank you, sir. It's great to be here.
Last time I saw you in Alexandria was at the roller rink in 1969 with Spirit. Blood, Sweat, and Tears played, and you had just played a gig with Led Zeppelin in January of that year. Do you remember that?
Oh, man, that the Wayback Machine has to click in, but kind of vaguely, yeah, I do.
Do you remember when you were opening up for Led Zeppelin, where they were just transforming from the New Yardbirds into that band?
No. We just did our show. We met a lot of British guys back in those days, and I was not aware necessarily. I didn't even know probably until later that there was the Yardbird connection, actually, to be honest. And I actually became a fan of Led Zeppelin kind of later on, because we were kind of buried in our own little world, and they were kind of our competition, so we just sort of forged ahead. But later I realized how awesome they were.
And having cross paths with Randy California during the years, during my tenure in radio, he was always so proud of Spirit and what you guys accomplished as far as staying out of mainstream and being top 40. And I know you went through some transitions after the 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus. Jojo Gun was a commercial hit, right? I mean, for Jay.
Kind of a one-hit wonder, but
I had to run with it, right?
Right. That was the only. And both bands were really trying to be successful. I mean, I think it really sort of broke Randy's heart that he couldn't really break through commercially and keep the integrity going. And I mean, songs like Got a Line, I mean, they were really kind of pleased to say, come here, I'm really a viable songwriter, performer here. And he didn't get that kind of recognition, which is so really unfortunate. I mean,
well, Led Zeppelin recognized his talent, and that talent as a unit spirit, and we all recognized it in 1969. I mean, myself being a teenager here in Alexandria. But as I was telling you, Led Zeppelin kicked off their tour, I guess, in the summer of '68. They transitioned from the New Yardbirds to the Yardbirds. I interviewed Chris Dreja about it. And the album wasn't out. We didn't have, the social media that we have today. I mean, it was all through the grapevine and through transatlantic radio was it. Yeah. Barry Richards was the guy. Barry Richards was the guy who promoted
like that
you.
To keep everybody informed. I mean, essentially, that's how that went down.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to get to is now, 50 years later, almost, people are recognizing the fact that Led Zeppelin and Spirit played together in 1969, early 69, during that transition. They did play here in Washington at the Wheaton Community Center for like 20 people. Nobody showed up. It was a promo gig. Barry was playing Dazed and Confused, and they just played the night Nixon was inaugurated. You guys played that same venue. Do you remember the Wheaton Community Center on a separate bill?
Yeah.
You remember the bill, a small gymnasium?
I don't remember the bill, but yeah, I remember playing in this area during that time, for sure.
As you reflect today in 2015 and see all the changes in music, how does it feel?
Well, it's a little sad. I mean, I mean, there's so many changes. I mean, it's convulsed so many times. I mean, it's unrecognizable tenfold. I mean, it's difficult to respond, but I have to say, I guess social media and the internet has leveled the playing field so that everybody has a shot. There are a lot more of us out there making music. The unfortunate thing is nobody wants to pay for music. It's a very crazy time to try to make a living in music, and I am just very thankful that I just was one of the lucky guys that showed up on the planet at the right time to kind of go through my little slice of this amazing experience.
We're thankful that you did too. We're thankful that you put the band together and came to Washington, and that you're still doing it tonight in 2015.
Well, as long as I function at a relatively high level, I'm okay. But as soon as I start to falter, or I'll yank myself out of the game. But I'm enjoying it, and I think I'm kind of still hanging in there.
Well, they were glad when you came back, believe me, because we've been talking about Spirit. Of course, you're here with Firefall tonight,
Right.
a band who I announced on stage like a fine wine always
Yeah,
withstands
yeah.
the test of time.
Thank you. But we've actually, I was talking to Jock about the legacy aspect of this band, and there's so many offshoots and branches from the Firefall family tree. And so we actually had Jock been able to make the show, but he's recovering well, thank goodness, from some health issues. But we're doing Nature's Way and Got a Line. Yeah.
You were great. You did Fresh Garbage and
little
worked
bit.
it into a little medley there. But who's with you? Let's give them the credit that credit's due. David was outstanding tonight
David
on
Muse,
flute and sax.
another original guy, David Muse. Larry Burnett came out. So we had 3 big originals. Sandy Ficca, the drummer, who's been there, and Steve Weinmeister. Stephen was the lead vocalist and second guitarist for many years, and then the new lead singer, Stephen, has moved on and came in to fill in for Jock. He's got a great band in Colorado, but Gary Jones is our Nashville new lead singer. So
We want to pick up Firefall's music. How do we do that? Or the old Spirit catalog?
that would be, that is a good question.
Get online, get a hold of
yeah.
Rhino.
Yeah, get a hold of Rhino. Go on the Firefall site. It's really not as great as it could be. We're making some changes, trying to get things updated, and actually we're talking about doing some new recordings for the Firefall thing.
I was going to say, what is ahead for you guys?
Yeah, maybe some recording. I think we might want to do Nature's Way actually as a record, and it would be interesting. Whenever I redo Nature's Way, it has to be a kind of a special deal. So we'll have to see if the Firefall thing works out. But Nature's Way will be recut, and I'll be involved in some way at some point with someone. The Music Angels might be the way that we do it, but the Spirit stuff, that's just kind of, I think that guys at Rockbeat, my friend James Austin, I think, is trying to work with Nick Skidmore to maybe do another box set of some live stuff, which is pretty amazing.
When Clear and the first album came out together, I thought that was the best double bill I'd ever seen in 1969. I thought that was so cool because all the worlds came together in music when you think about that. And I was asking Felix Cavalieri about Peaceful World. I considered that album with that double Spirit album, milestones in the recording business.
There you go. Well, just a lucky break for us because, Spirit was one of those bands that just kept playing and hoping, and we were underrated, and in retrospect wound up being more influential than we even realized. And I just hope that Randy gets the acknowledgement that he deserves, and I'll let it go at that. But I love those guys, and that was a great band. And
you're just like him. You're just as gracious as he is when I think back to doing this interview, and I appreciate it. Mark, will you come through Washington? We'd love to book you at the Wheaton Community Center to do a solo gig. Barry Richards will do it. What do you think?
Oh, sure. We'll be there.
And my other question, are you playing Taurus in concert with Stairway to Heaven?
That would be lovely, wouldn't it? A beautiful homage to both of those badass guys. I mean, Randy and Jimmy. I mean, that would be actually kind of a great idea.
I think you and Jimmy Page should play the Wheaton Community Center for old time.
Right. Yeah.
I'll get a hold of Riazar Promotions out in Beverly Hills tomorrow. Okay, seriously. Mark, thank you for being so gracious.
Thank you, Thomas. You're the best.
Thank you.